What will happen to America if Kamala Harris becomes president? The answer to that question is revealed in our explosive 88-page special report. And you can get it absolutely free from one of America's most truthful news sources, WorldNetDaily. Dozens of trusted experts come together to paint a shocking but accurate picture of what will become of the greatest nation on earth if Kamala Harris becomes president. Just call 8337-KAMALA or go to KamalaFreeReport.com and download your copy of Kamala's America immediately. That's KamalaFreeReport.com.
Welcome, everybody. WorldNetDaily is live. It is October 23, 2024. Welcome to the program. My name is Matt Edwards, and holy moly, we are 13 days, 12 days, however you want to look at your calendar, from November 5th. We are less than 2 weeks away, and early voting is underway. We're going to talk about early voting today because it is underway. It's really important. We're going to get into that. But we've got machines switching. We've got scanners breaking down. We've got voters being told that they've already voted. The shenanigans seem to already be in play. We've seen this story before, and it is incredible. Here it is. It begins. Watch as reports are already documenting voter machines flipping votes. This story is up over there at WorldNetDaily, and you need to go through this because it's just going to show tweet and different posts and different articles and different things that people are sharing, and so we need to be vigilant. And so if you have a camera out there, you gotta pay attention and take pictures of these things. Josh Turnbow, Joe Kovacs joins us. Gentlemen, how are you this afternoon?
Greetings.
Doing well. Thank you, Matt.
Very good. Well, guys, you got me fired up because the importance of early voting this go around, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but most conservatives are, we're day of people. We want 1 day of voting. We want paper ballots and all of that, but that's not the system we work in right now. I mean, we have mail-in ballots. We have states that have early voting that goes on for weeks at a time. And so if that is available, then as conservatives, we need to take advantage of that. And so, Joe, I want to turn it to you. In all of your time covering politics, what have you seen when it comes to early voting or when it comes to mail-in ballots, and who are the ones that are partaking in that? Because I think we're seeing a shift now.
Well, we've all heard the old joke, vote early and vote often. And that leads people to think that you're going to vote more than once. And some people somehow get away with voting more than once, whether they're alive or dead in the grave, or as people's pets somehow seem to get to vote. But early voting has been around. It's been increasing in the American scene over the last few years. And I have already early voted. I have no problem with early voting. And I made sure, just FYI, I don't even trust the postal system to get my ballot to where it's supposed to go. I made sure I hand-delivered it to the supervisor of elections. Now, there's been allegations that early voting can create fraud, and this is why we need people showing up on election day only with voter IDs. To prove that you are who you are. So there's arguments on both sides of the coin. Some people don't like to go vote on election day because it takes a long time, especially if you have a ballot with a lot of issues. And some states are packed with 2 and 3 page ballots with many issues, not just president and your local congressmen and senators, but all the way down the line to local issues. So it is taking place right now. President Trump was asked about early voting, and I think he's going to go with the traditional vote on election day for the big photo op. But the most important thing is to vote. Don't sit this one out on the sidelines. Yes. Again, this is the existential threat that everyone's talking about, including Elon Musk. People must vote, whether you vote early or on election day itself.
Yeah, that's very true. And Josh, I'm going to challenge Josh here, but to challenge Josh, Josh, I need to challenge the audience. Everybody watching right now who's able to make a comment, I want to see your post. I want post in the comment section on Rumble, Facebook, wherever you're watching. What is your
on
plan?
X, yeah.
Or on X. Yeah. What is your plan for voting? What is your plan? Did you already early vote? Did you turn in your ballot? Are you going on election day, and how is that already planned out? Because we want to make sure that you're not like stuck in traffic, or you're leaving work early, or on your lunch break, or your kid gets sick or something. I mean, I think, Josh, election day in America, there's no such thing as election day anymore. It's November 5th is the final day to vote. It's the final day of voting. So
Absolutely.
We're doing it now, right?
Yeah, and I think I saw a tweet this morning from Laura Loomer, who even Laura Loomer said she was in line for early voting, and she was already in line for an hour. Things are changed now. Things are different. We don't, you can go vote on the day, but this is it's going to be the most contested election, I think, in American history. But another important thing, Matt, that I'm thinking about, think about how you guys are talking about how things have changed. It used to be that if you were the vote early folks, you then went to the nice.
Hey, look at that. There's Lisa.
Hey, thanks, Lisa. If you voted early, you also then went to the Golden Corral to have a prime rib afterwards, and that was your slow day. You were maybe an older American. No longer. We're already thinking about it. I'll probably early vote this week just to get it out of the way. And as just to kick to the next story, Matt, you need to check your receipt if you do the electronic voting and see what it says after you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we are already following some of these stories, and we're going to WorldNetDaily. We're going to keep following these stories. Here it is. A man claims his ballot was electronically changed after he voted for Trump, and it came up Kamala. Somebody outside a polling place caught this guy saying this. I don't know if we have a. Was this a video or?
Yeah, we have a clip of this.
Okay. Yeah.
James Carpenter. I just voted in the White Settlement election. I voted for one president, checked it on the video screen. When I got the paper ballot, it had the other candidate's name on it. Check your paper ballots, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, wow. Very
That
diplomatic,
guy,
too.
There's not a more American-looking gentleman of his age. There's really not. The handlebar mustache. And I'm going to bet money, Matt, that he did not vote for Kamala Harris. I'm just
I don't know.
Just going to guess here and think he
could
did.
Be one of those white dudes for Kamala out there shooting guns.
I think he had a camo hat or something. There's just no way.
I thought it was just the Biden family that were the white dudes for Harris. So
That's right. That's right. Well, over in Illinois, we've got this clip over in Illinois off of X. They were told that there was only one scanner, and it was broken. Watch this.
Nobody's going to open that up whatsoever until tonight. And that's us who takes care of us. So you know us, we have our badges, we have everything, and we have our phone. I don't see us having a problem. We're going to be here late tonight. A rover is coming from the warehouse. They're supposed to come out to fix it for us. If they fix it, we close the alternative ballot box and we start using the scanner. Those alternative ballots will be processed later on tonight.
Nope, I'll be back.
So we have to balance all the people we process against the scanner. And if we don't process, we get fired.
Can it be somebody there from each party?
Well, some of these poll workers, you guys, it's like we've seen this story over and over again. At some point, the people in line, if I was in line for this, I mean, there'd be a revolt. Do you remember when the what was that thing that happened in Tennessee where they stormed the voting? I forget the name of the story, but Athens. It was in Athens, Tennessee, or Athens, Georgia, or something that happened like that. Somebody down there wrote BS and
Yeah, John did.
Yeah.
Here, bring that.
John,
Let's bring that comment up.
But John, yes, BS. But you need to share with me how you're voting. Did you already vote? Like,
yeah.
You can say BS, but I'm not putting up another BS comment unless you went out and have a plan to vote. So,
yeah, John, can you confirm that you voted yet, sir?
Yes.
You can even say who it is if you're brave enough.
The lines. Now, Joe, you said you early voted, but you brought in your absentee ballot. What have you been seeing? What have we been seeing across the country when it comes to terms of early voting? Because I've seen clips from all over the place of people standing out in line early voting, and the turnout. We know that Trump is encouraging people to early vote, and so the turnout and the numbers that are being reported are that in some areas, Republicans are outpacing Democrats in early voting, which is not the norm.
Correct. And when you have somebody like Trump encouraging early voting, Republicans have never been big on early voting. They wanted people there on election day as election day, not election month or week or whatever extended period of time. As the Republican Party has been for years and decades, the ones who have been clamping down on voter fraud. They don't want any illegitimate votes getting in there. But we are now in a new ball game where early voting is the thing. And so Trump is saying, well, if there's going to be early voting, I encourage you to get out there and vote early so that your vote gets in. Now, we have seen in the states that have this larger numbers of people coming out before the actual election day. And I think that is a indicator of a big Republican push or even victory, as people will crawl naked over broken glass to make sure their ballots get counted, because we're all sick of the shenanigans, the alleged machine breakdowns, or the vote flipping, or there was a water break at the poll location on election night, and we have to stop the counting and send everybody home because they're too tired, and then we'll start recounting again. Americans are fed up with this nonsense. They want a clean election. I mean, we're the ones that practically invented free elections in the world. We are, a Republican, a representative republic here. It's not a democracy technically. We vote for people who represent us in office, but we're supposed to be the experts. And it seems like everyone else can hold a valid election without these silly shenanigans going on, but America can't. And citizens of this country are just fed up with it.
Yeah, they are. And to I've seen a couple of comments in here. No, I only vote in person on the day of, and I get it. That's what we want. When we think about why we even do early voting, the left pushed this for years. And I think one of the reasons secretly they pushed it is because of the whole October surprise, right? If you already cast your vote in October, before election day, and then all of a sudden the news breaks that your candidate was a serial killer in an earlier life, your vote's already banked and you can't take that back. And so I think that was most likely a hedge against all of these surprises that come out. But that's what the day of voting is so important, because everybody going to the polls on that day has the exact same amount of information available to them. They may not know it yet, but at least it's available to them. So there's no excuse to walk in that day and say, or to have voted and say, well, had I known this that came out 2 weeks later, I could have changed my vote. And so all that being said, this is the system that we're in, and there's tons of states across the country that have early in-person voting. They have mail-in vote. Some states only have mail-in voting. Washington State is only mail-in voting, and so to be able to change all that is going to take a long time. We're going to have to re-educate people and get them invigorated about voting on the day of. And so, but until that happens, we have to keep voting. And when you do it in person, here's the key about when you do it in person. We have a clip here of a guy who went to go early vote in North Carolina and was told that he already voted. Let's watch some of this.
For Scott Wickersham, in an election that's expected to be tight, every ballot counts. But it wasn't until Channel 9 got involved that one man got his vote back. Enthused about voting early, Connor Brennan says he got quite the shock Tuesday when he took his lunch break to go cast a ballot at the Bank of America Stadium site.
To think of how easy it was for this to happen, it's thought-provoking.
When he thought he would be headed back to the booth, the poll worker instead told him he actually could not vote.
So somehow someone went to early vote, had my first name, last name, date of birth, and changed my address and was able to vote as me.
That's very alarming.
It's very alarming.
The situation, understandably, raised all kinds of suspicions.
Is it just the voting part, or do I have a bigger problem with the identity theft piece?
He says he left not knowing where to turn and also wondering if he would be able to participate at all in the upcoming election.
All they could offer up at the time was that I filled out a provisional ballot.
But as we were interviewing Connor, I received a return call from Mecklenburg County Elections Director Michael Dickerson. After explaining the situation, Dickerson did some digging.
Yeah.
Is that your correct?
No, that's not my.
That's not his correct. Finally, an answer for this very concerned voter. There's another Connor Brennan in Charlotte, but that person has a different date of birth and address.
So what they did was put that in as this new one in as you.
Yeah.
Huh. That's odd.
How much of this involves human error?
It's all human error.
Dickerson explains election workers incorrectly associated our Connor's information with one that voted in South End.
Well, what should have happened was back here, we should have noticed it before it went out, that this is a different date of birth.
Incredible. So this, that's not a unique story. I've heard stories like that happen before, but we have to juxtapose this story with another clip that happened in New Jersey of an Irish citizen voting, because it seems to me, Joe, that they try to make it so much harder for actual citizens to vote and to get their ballots in and feel secure about their vote. But when it comes to, somebody who shouldn't be allowed to vote, it's like, oh, step right up to the plate and vote. Let's watch this video of what happened. This is an undercover video from Project Veritas. Let's watch what happened in New Jersey.
You voted in the election in January of last year?
The presidential, yeah.
And did you register?
No, I wasn't registered either.
Are you registered now?
Oh, I never filled anything out, no.
Okay, then I can't see how you can vote because you're not registered.
Remember, I do remember him.
Okay.
Remember, we was allowing anyone to come in.
We was allowing anybody to come in, and they say
presidential. That was a presidential.
Yeah, Dorney General, they just let us.
Okay. I'll let you fill out a ballot now. Whether or not it's going to be, they're going to count it, I don't know.
But I don't know if it works because I'm an Irish,
work.
but I'm an Irish citizen. I'm not.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you have some citizenship here?
With the work visa, yeah.
Listen, we'll let you do it. They'll figure that out.
The brand new one, yeah. There's no many new ones, just so you know.
Incredible.
I love that he's an Irish citizen.
I just want to point out that Irishman speaks better English with better elocution than some of those workers at the American Elections Office.
But what is that, Josh? What is that?
Matt, every vote counts, okay? Just don't worry about if it's legal or not. That's not cool, bro. Just let them vote. The lady said it. They'll work it out on the back end, I guess.
Yeah,
they'll work it out.
Yeah,
of course this is happening. I mean, California is working. Did they make it illegal for illegal voters, or did that happen?
I don't know what the final outcome of that is, but people can go into these offices, and even if they don't have a voter ID or whatever, they're often given these things called provisional ballots, where you fill it out. Maybe it's counted, maybe it's not. Who knows? I don't even know if they ever say, if they ever announce, well, yes, we counted such and such number of provisional ballots, because once the results are in, or once the winner is announced, everybody just kind of shuts off their brain. Oh, we have a winner. It's irrelevant where these provisional ballots went. So you see this Irish guy going in there and saying, oh, yeah, well, I never filled out any paperwork, but these people are more than willing to let him at least fill out a provisional ballot. And this kind of thing is not endemic to one area. It's pandemic all over America, because we are living in opposite world where everything that is correct is wrong, and they're letting the evildoers, so to speak, the cheaters, those with the sleight of hand, with the distractions and diversion, get away with all this nonsense. And this is why we have elections that no matter what the outcome is, there's always dispute. Remember, it was Hillary Clinton who said, oh, yeah, I really won that election years ago. And when Donald Trump said, there's a stolen election. So no matter who wins this election, there's going to be claims of, oh, the election was stolen. It wasn't legitimate. So this appears to be the new norm across America. And this is the reason why, where anybody can go in and throw in a ballot, whether it's counted or not, no one really knows.
Well, I guess, we can look at
Joe.
Yeah, and we can look at this and say, well, look at what the rest of the world does. When it comes to how they conduct elections, the first thing they do is they check ID. So look at this post here. Libs of TikTok put this out. This is a list of countries. Well, this I guess was on Fox News, but this is a list of countries that use voter ID.
How is Palestine on the list? I mean, since when is Palestine a country?
Well,
that's from Fox News.
From Palestine to Poland to Cyprus to Italy to Mauritius. Where's that? I don't even know where that is. That's a new country for me. But even they check ID in their precious little country, and yet over here it's indicative of somebody being a complete racist bigot. If you ask somebody for their ID, can you verify who you are? And of course, when we saw what happened in New Jersey, it doesn't. There's no point in showing ID when you have people literally admitting that they're not a citizen and saying it's all right to come vote. It's ridiculous. That being said, Just the News published a story that there were 6 people indicted for voter fraud in Ohio. 6 of nearly 140 people referred to the Ohio Attorney General for illegal voting, and they've been indicted. So, I mean, these okay, this is great, but these sound like small potatoes when you're looking at the issues that go on. There was in Glendale, Wisconsin, they announced that they were experiencing delays and total outages with their election system. And this is, I mean, when you can't even let people vote because the whole system is down, and that becomes widespread, you have to wonder, who are the people behind this? Maricopa County announced that, did we have that up there? Maricopa County announcing that it's going to take them 10 to 13 days to count their ballots in Arizona. I mean, this is a huge issue that we're still dealing with.
The infamous Maricopa County, which is strange that this just keeps the tabulation like days later thing. That seems to be the most likely place to have conflict after the election. Right? Like after the day of, there's going to be, it seems impossible that there won't be places like Maricopa that will just say, we don't have an answer yet. That can really frustrate people, I don't think it's a good idea. Yeah, I'm frustrated now.
Bring in Sheriff Joe. I mean, Sheriff Joe Arpaio was the Maricopa County Sheriff back in the day, not that long ago. He was the one challenging the legitimacy of Barack Obama's birth certificate that he put online, which is still a matter of dispute in across America. But yeah, Maricopa County in Arizona, they're going to be in focus. As we all remember, Fox News and the Decision Desk called Arizona wickedly early at the last time for the Democrats, sending the Republicans and Trump, popping a gasket there, blowing a gasket. So Arizona, of course, now is a border state. It's always been a border state, but now it is going to be extremely in focus, especially when you say that, we have to wait, 13 days? That's 2 weeks after Election Day to count all the votes. Whatever happened to Election Day, not election week or month? I mean, this is absurd.
It absolutely is. And I think when we highlight this, if we're highlighting the fraud now, if we get this stuff out now, I saw that comment up now that we know people, we know we're going to steal it, and then we know they're going to attempt this. We need to have a plan going forward afterwards. And so obviously the plan, as being part of the media here, is to highlight these stories, is to share these out. So that's the only thing that we can do as a news organization, is to highlight these stories now. So you're seeing them. Make sure you share this stuff. I love seeing the comments come in. You got to keep them coming. Here's another story out of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. We had Cliff Maloney of the PA Chase on here maybe 2 weeks ago talking about their efforts to turn out the vote in terms of mail-in ballots, because they left a ton of mail-in ballots on the table back in 2020 that were never returned by Republican voters. And so they're out there knocking doors. And part of what they do is they knock doors of ballots that haven't been returned yet. So he posted this over on X. This came out, I think this was yesterday, that they had one of their door knockers knock on the door of an address, and they couldn't quite figure it out because they were like, I think this is a church. And so they knocked on the door, and sure enough, it was a church that had over 50 people registered there. And most of them were Democrats, but they were there to chase the Republican voter. And then what happened? The person at the door says, well, nobody lives here. This is a church. Nobody lives here. So they're investigating now whether or not it was like some sort of monastery where people do live and spend their time there. But as of right now, the address is a church. The person that worked at the church said nobody lives there. And so that's another breaking story that's happening that is incredible. So those are the types of stories that we need to. Do we not have that post? I thought we had that.
Yeah, we do have that clip.
It's a clip.
Yeah, we have it. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, let's watch it then. I tell the whole story. Oh, yeah, here, yeah. So these are all the. Can we still hear?
Yeah, I can hear you, Matt.
Oh, okay, yeah. These are all the names of all the people that were registered at this church, and they all don't live there. In fact, the statement was from one of the door knockers that said that they asked the person, does anybody live here? And they say, no, this is like when people are traveling, they'll spend the night, 1 or 2 nights here and then move on. So
you think they'd figure that out? That seems kind of suspect.
I mean, but you see this all over the place, where addresses are being used to
if that's the case,
people.
I'm going to tell the IRS I have an address at the church as well.
That's right. Hey, look at this comment right here. What is that? Tiny loves Boston. She's voting today. I'm guessing it's a woman. If only I could cast multiple votes. Ha ha ha. Funny. But yes, she's voting today. That's fantastic. I love hearing that. And Josh, did you say you already voted or you're going to?
No, I'm gonna do it this week, and then I'll go to the Golden Corral afterwards. But yeah, no, I will do it this week because I do suspect that like the lines are going to be crazy.
Yeah, they are. Well, they are, but if you make a plan and it's too long for you, they can come back. That's the beauty about early voting. You can go today, you can go tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just try and get your vote in. I was out, so I live in Idaho. I live in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, up in North Idaho. And I do some other work here in Idaho for the state, and not for the state, but in the state. And one of the things that I went out and did last week was interview early voters. And we posted it on X through my other organization. And so we wanted to share some of the enthusiasm of the folks who are showing up to early vote. Most of them have never early voted before. Well, let's watch this. Hey, is this the first time you've done early voting?
It is.
Well, this is our first time early voting.
No, because I worked the polls 2 years ago. So we have to do early voting when we work the polls.
Is this your first time early voting?
I believe so.
First time for early, yeah.
As far as I can recall, yes.
So what brought you out here to early vote today?
I'm very excited to vote, and I'm working the polls again this year.
Between Trump asking us to early vote, I saw your posts on Twitter, looked up the address, came on down here, and then immediately posted to let everyone else come on down.
I know that we're going to make a difference, and it's Trump 2024. We got this, baby!
All right. Fantastic.
We just want to make sure that we get it done.
The line at the last election in 2020, I didn't want to have to worry about it, and I didn't want any goof-ups.
If I were to tell you that this week alone in Kootenai County is the busiest they've ever seen early voting, how does that make you feel?
Wonderful.
I'm very excited about it. The biggest reason is so that we don't have any oops, the lights went out on election night, or oops,
I'm excited about what that means. That means people are concerned and they want a better future.
I don't think anybody's going to take chances. This is way too important, which means you know who I voted for. Well, it's not a female.
That was great being out there with those folks.
She looked just like J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter books there.
Right.
And J.K. knows very clearly what a female is, just like that nice lady.
That's right. That's right. But you can see the enthusiasm. I mean, people were like the one guy in the car, he was like, Trump said, come out and vote. He saw our posts on my post on X about it. And he was like, I'm out here. We had his whole family with him in the car. And he's like telling people to go out and vote. So everybody that I've been talking to is like, oh, this is my first time early voting. And I'll tell you what, Joe, maybe you can agree with this, is if the most engaged people in politics are going out and early voting because they're listening to Trump, they're listening to a lot of the our side of the news and talking about how important it is this year, that leaves the day of people to be more of those last minute types or first time voters who are going to go out and maybe now, because there's less people there, they'll be less discouraged by a longer line. Maybe their lines won't be long. I mean, I'm just trying to gameplay this out. If there's going to be enough of those people showing up to early vote, that it really puts a dent in how many people show up on the day of.
Well, you can see by the excitement of all those people you interviewed, Americans, or at least those in Idaho, really want to get this done. This is, the country is at stake. Everyone can feel it. And these large numbers of people showing up with all this enthusiasm is going to make a difference in the final numbers, I think, when we see, how many people vote, because there's a large percentage of America that does not vote in any given election. And I think we've mentioned this on previous programs. The Christian community, 46%, that's almost 1 in 2, half of the Christian community of evangelicals sat out the 2020 election. I mean, that's just astonishing.
That's astounding.
You would think that Christians who are, their mission here is to fight evil, is to get out there and fight the evil that's taking over the nation. So hopefully the enthusiasm will continue, that these people who already voted will call their friends or talk to their friends and neighbors and tweet them or text them or however they communicate, say, hey, make sure you vote, because on election day itself, there may be long lines again, because, ballots, it's not a 5-minute thing to do the ballot. You actually have to, read all the names and the amendments. There's a lot of state amendments, constitutional amendments on many of these ballots, and many people don't know exactly what they say, and then they call over somebody to explain it to them, that kind of thing. So it takes a long time, and people do not like waiting in long lines, as you know, for anything. Hopefully they will stay in line and make sure their vote gets counted this time, because we don't want people leaving the line. Now, usually at most polling places, they say if you are in line by, for instance, 7 p.m. is the time when many ballot places close, the polls close, that they will allow you to vote, even if you're there afterward. But you have to be in line by the ballot closing time, so they'll allow you to do that. And again, hopefully they will stay in line, because this election is the most important election that I can recall ever in my life. And I remember, way back in the day, we had Ronald Reagan versus Jimmy Carter, and all the pollsters said, too close to call, just like today, there's like too close to call. And Ronald Reagan won a significant victory. And then the next election, he won 49 states. So I don't think that Trump is going to win 49 states here, but I certainly don't believe these polls that suggest that, this race is too close to call. If the Republicans cannot win this election with all the disasters that we are currently swimming in, they will never win another presidential election.
Yeah, Joe, and I think one of the things you hit on there is the Christian vote, and we know that our audience is a devoted group, and they need to be talking to their churches and their pastors. I was out at that election office yesterday watching the early vote, the carousel of voters coming through, and I saw my pastor, I saw him walking in voting, and I was like, all right, good job, man! Like, lead your flocks to the voting centers. We have this clip here from the Blaze. This is a very important thing, and you may have already heard about this or seen this, but this has to do with the flow of information and how Google can manipulate the vote, and you would think that it would be somewhat, you could be somewhat immune to it, but you may not. You may be manipulated, and you may not even know it. So let's watch this clip, and I want to get your guys' take on this.
It turns out that most of the searches we do on Google or other search engines are for simple facts. So what is the capital of Idaho? In fact, I don't even know, but I could go to google.com and find out. The point is, 86% of the time we're looking for simple facts, and the simple answer turns up at the top. The correct answer turns up at the top. So we're like rats in a Skinner box. We are learning over and over and over again that what's at the top is best, what's at the top is truest. The problem is when we type something in on a topic where we're trying to make up our minds, Google knows this. They know that we believe whatever they put at the top. So all they have to do, and this is what SEAM is, all they have to do to shift the thinking of undecided voters is put at the top of search rankings content that favors their candidate, so that when someone clicks at the top, it takes them to a web page that makes Google's candidate look really good. And we know from more than 12 years of controlled experiments published in peer-reviewed journals, we know that when Google does this, it easily shifts between 20 and 80% of undecided voters after just one search. If they do it over and over again to undecided voters, the numbers go up higher and higher. And that is what they're doing. That's what we're preserving. We're preserving that evidence for the courts and for the Federal Election Commission. That's what they're doing right now with voters around the country. And there's something else that they're doing right now. They are sending on their homepage, they're sending more go vote reminders to Democrats than to Republicans. This is called the targeted messaging effect, TME, something we've also studied. And Google is doing it right now, and we're capturing the evidence.
Yeah, guys. I mean, that is incredible, especially the alerts for early voting and things like that. That's why it's so important that we talk about this and we do this sort of thing. Joe, what's your take on this? I mean, as somebody who's watched the news and seen how the ebb and flow of stories affect our country and affect the people watching it, I mean, this is a serious problem.
Absolutely. And that gentleman is correct. We have been trained to see whatever is at the top, those are the best results. And they're not always the best results. For instance, Google has suppressed WorldNetDaily stories completely, where you can't find them, or they go way to the bottom of hundreds or thousands of search results. Now, I just want to remind people that Google has been in cahoots with the Democrats for years now. They actually had what was perceived to be an office at the White House during the presidency of Barack Obama. They were there all the time, figuring out and discussing with Obama and his administration how best to make sure. This was after Donald Trump's name came on the scene, and they wanted to make sure Donald Trump and people like him don't get into office. So they were there throughout the Obama years, and they just want to, again, suppress anything that promotes conservatism, that promotes Christianity, that promotes the Republican Party, because they want complete control. That's what the devil wants. He wants complete control of the human race, and he uses these tools like Google to manipulate people's thoughts. Now, there are other search engines out there you can use. I know our audience probably knows about them, but in case you don't, there are search engines like DuckDuckGo or StartPage. Those are just two off the top of my head, which are just as good or better than Google, and they don't track you, and they don't filter things the way Google does to make sure that only left-leaning stuff goes to the top of the page. You'll also remember, I think we had stories on this in the past month or two about Alexa, which is owned by Amazon. People would say, "Hey, Alexa, why should I vote for Donald Trump?" And the answer would be, "I'm sorry, I cannot comment on an election," type of answer. But then when they say, "Hey, Google, why should I vote for Kamala Harris? It would go on with a whole bunch of reasons. Oh, she's the first black female, yada, yada, yada. She was a prosecutor, and it gives a whole bunch of reasons for people to vote for Kamala Harris. So you can see this cabal that's in the works, whether it's Google, whether it's Amazon and Alexa. All these leftist-minded companies are pushing the same goal that the news media has, because the national news media are a bunch of radical left loons, and they are pushing I call it the spirit of Antichrist agenda, because that's basically what's going on here. They're opposing God, they're opposing Jesus, and so therefore, whatever's against God is being pushed by all these forces. So people have to be aware of that to save our country.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. I mean, people need to understand that if they are already skeptical or don't want to read the Washington Post or the New York Times, that when you go to Google, you're basically doing that. If you're asking Alexa a question, you're basically asking the Washington Post, because Jeff Bezos owns both. Right, Josh? I mean, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, so people like Michael Yon have talked to us about this. And what's strange is this is a form of what they call like fifth generation warfare, but it's propagated from our own citizens, our own companies on us as citizens. So, something as simple as changing language, forbidding language. For instance, on our YouTube channel, we were banned just last week, but we're back now. And that has to do with shaping language so that we can't fully talk about certain things. And then Google having funnel ratings where you're not even aware that they are transmitting an agenda and their preferred information to you. It's a form of warfare, and other nations do it to us. But the problem is here is that nations or organizations, ideologically aligned organizations like Google, are doing it to the citizenry. And it's a little more than censorship. It's just as dangerous.
Yeah, it is. And that's also why it's so important that people are on X. As we move along here, the purchase of X by Elon Musk is proving to be something that is going to quite possibly help save this entire world. I mean, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. There's so many stories that get filtered out through the other legacy search engines and such. And Joe, you did a great job of outlining all of that. So one of the things that we want to make sure that you guys stay aware of course, is the things that are going on here at WorldNetDaily, because we have been putting out these stories and paying attention and making sure that you have all of the ammunition you need when you go to talk to your friends, you talk to your family, and you're out there in the world. And so one of the things Elizabeth Farah, the co-founder of WND, has been doing is these fantastic interviews. And she had on a guest recently, and we want to play a clip from there because that episode just came out. But you need to watch a clip from Elizabeth's show here. Let's watch this.
I mean, we're setting up for World War III. We got carrier strike groups off of Iran. We've got Ukraine and Russia. Who's running the show? Also, why is our border open, and why are we getting people from over 70 countries into this border? Why are we getting hundreds of thousands of criminals across the border? The reason that that's most important to me is because of the terrorists. They have not forgotten about us. And terrorists say to us, the Americans have the clock, but we have the time. With open borders, Democrats are doing it for political reasons so they can get more votes, so they can stay in power personally. That's it. For me, it's ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, God forbid, Boko Haram, crossing this border because they're told how to by the algorithm at TikTok, by the Democrats. And for me, that comes down to meeting them again face to face. My friends and I went to Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Yemen, the Indian Ocean to meet them there, so they did not meet us here. What we've seen since Joe Biden, well, I'm not going to say won the election. Since Joe Biden was put into office, our borders are wide open. That means terrorists are coming. And the problem is not for me. It's for the regular Americans who don't think they're at war with these terrorists, which they are. Just because you don't think you're at war with someone doesn't mean they're not at war with you. I'm ready. I'm prepared. I can meet him again. I don't want regular Americans to meet him in Times Square, but it's coming. And if Kamala Harris gets elected, it's going to be even more wide open. And that is a personal threat to you and your family, to me and my family.
Woo! that is some good stuff. That is Robert O'Neill. That is a Navy SEAL that took out Osama bin Laden. So you can take it to the bank for someone like that he is willing to stand in the gap and stand in the breach once again. Great episode. All of those have been great, exposing Kamala's America if she were to get the nightmare scenarios that Elizabeth goes for. And we encourage you folks to watch those and share those around. Josh, where can people find that fantastic content?
Yeah, you can find Elizabeth's show, which is fantastic. This is our thumbnail here for the Robert O'Neill episode. I mean, this guy's a hero. I don't know if you remember him. He is the guy that is credited for shooting Osama bin Laden in the head. And nobody really misses that character. So you can see this on our Rumble channel or any of our social media channels. We're putting up now YouTube as well, but Rumble is where we want you to go because we are uncensored there. And we're building our audience, and it's going fantastic. All of Elizabeth's shows will be there, including this live show. And if we put that tag up, you can go follow us over at Rumble. I think it's coming up here. Oh, no, let's go to the graphic, actually, folks. You can follow us and like over at Rumble, and you can click that little QR there, and that'll take you over to the channel. We would love you to subscribe and like. And of course, we love comments. And the other places are on X. Our X account's just doing fantastic. We have a ton of content over there. Also, Instagram and Telegram. And also, of course, you can see Matt and I and Joe. We all have our X accounts. My own X account is just Josh_Turnbow. And there's a lot of content there. Of course, always kicking back to WorldNetDaily. And we hope you'll go follow the WorldNetDaily channels, please.
Absolutely. And Joe, remind everybody where we can follow you for all those first-time viewers out there.
On X, you can find me at Joe Kovacs News, and I have a Bible-related website called reachinggodspeed.com, And of course, on a daily basis, all my work can be found at WorldNetDaily.com or WND.com.
Fantastic. All right. Well, gentlemen, it's always a pleasure to wrap the news with you guys. Folks, make sure, I love the comments that were coming in. If you're going out there and early voting, remind people, early vote now. You can spend your day on November 5th, rallying people to go vote for those last minute stragglers. But thank you so much for watching. Please go out and vote, rally everybody to go vote. We're going to say it over and over again. Thank you again. God bless. We'll see you on Friday. Take care.
We do a little